Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are back on Black Ops Cold War, but that's not really the main focus of this video. As you guys saw from the title, I have a bit of a story for you guys. So this is a story from like 3 or 4 years back now. Okay, so just to give some context, back in the day when I used to make music a lot, I used to do a lot of like mini concerts, you know what I mean? Just trying to get my music out there. I just do a couple mini shows, you know, do them for like 45 minutes to an hour, just playing through some of my songs, right? I just try to huddle up as many people as we can into a small area and just blast the music loud, get the mics going. I literally had to plug my mic every time I did one into a guitar amp, and then we just run the music off of some RCA speakers. We're talking real small stuff. This stuff was almost like maybe what you could call like a party almost, you know what I mean? Just like 5 to 20 people somewhere, and they're just kind of huddling up there for some music for around an hour, and that was that. Didn't even charge anybody to get in. We were just there hanging out, just trying to, you know, get the music out there a bit more. I'm 18 years old now, so I'm able to, you know, say some of this stuff, but the one time we were doing a show, right, it was on the weekend, and it was the middle of the day. It was like 1 or 2 p.m., I believe. And during that first one, we decided, you know what, let's get a little messed up. Let's have a little bit of fun, right? So I got a little too messed up for my own good, and halfway through the set, I was messing up really, really bad. I was like, not really good with my breath control. I was forgetting lyrics. Like I was just fumbling really bad, not being able to keep a consistent tone or stay on key with the tracks. But it is what it is. I pushed through the set. I was like, all right, you know what? I'll get through the set. Everybody's here. We're doing the thing. Whatever. I'm gonna push through this, and then we'll be fine. I got through the set, finished everything relatively well. But towards the end of it, I started to get my head back in the game, and I was able to remember the lyrics a little bit better, and I was able to get my shit together a bit better. That was that. So afterwards, I went inside, ate some pizza just to try to sober up, and then I just laid down. And then I laid down for maybe like 2 or 3 hours, and I didn't like sleep or anything like that. I was just kind of laying there watching YouTube, just trying to get my head back in the game. And as we were laying there, we got this text, right, from a bunch of these, like, athletic douchebags that were at my school, dude. I always fucking hated these kids. However, some of them were cool, and I was actually kind of cool with some of them. Like, we weren't necessarily friends, but, like, anytime we talked in class, like, it seemed like we were at least somewhat cool. So, one of those people that I was somewhat cool with texted me, and they were like, hey, you know, can you do another show? Can you set one up? Me and the boys want to come through. I was like, I'm sure, I guess. Because at that point, I was just trying to do the stuff as much as I could. So we got everything set up, and mind you, this was at like 8 or 9 p.m., so it was getting a little bit later. It was already dark out, and me and the boys that were doing the sets, you know, we kind of forgot that noise complaints were a thing. But again, it was only at like 8 p.m., so we didn't really think it would be a big deal, right? So we got everything set up, and I was still pretty messed up from earlier in the day. I really outdid myself. But everybody rolled up and we were getting ready to go. I was like, holy crap. So me and the 2 other dudes I was doing it with, not going to include names just for like privacy reasons, but their online aliases are Fallen and Lil Cheese Curl. We were huddling in the back and we were like, dude, this is the most amount of, because it was a lot of people in there, because there was the first group of kids from like the quote-unquote athletic kids that wanted to come through, and then once I put something on my story being like, hey, we're doing a show, then there was another group of kids that came through that, you know, they were completely separate from them. So we had multiple groups of people just huddled out in this thing, and me Falling and Little Cheese Curl was just sitting in the back. We were like, yo, this is the biggest one we've done. Everybody just keep your shit together, get through this, keep the anxiety in check. Let's go. And every time that we did one, it usually tended to be that I would open up the set, and then after that, we'd have Fallen come out and he'd do a song or two. So for this particular set, I was supposed to go on, do a song or two, and then Fallen would come on, we'd do a collab, I go off, he'd do a song. However, at this point, it was pretty evident that I was messed up, and I keep bringing that up because it plays into a part later in the story. It's pretty important. As soon as the music kicked on, I went out, did my thing, you know, got a bunch of applause and stuff, and it felt really good. I was like, holy crap, this is gonna be like freaking awesome, dude. And then we got to the 3rd song, which is when Fallen finally came out. And this is when everything went sideways. Remember how I was saying like those athletic douchebags rolled through? It was clear all of them were in on some sort of stupid fucking gag where they came in and they dropped a bunch of stink bombs. Of all things, they dropped a bunch of fucking stink bombs on the damn floor, right? And then everybody started being like, yo, what the fuck is that smell? And it stunk really bad because they dropped a lot of shit. And then everybody just fucking cleared out because we were like, dude, we have no idea what that is. So we just stopped the shit, cleared everybody out, and then immediately they ran out the fucking door and hopped in their car and beeped their horns real fucking loud as they sped down the road. And then the other group of kids that came that were entirely separate from them were like, yo, we're sorry about this shit. We had nothing to do with that. But at that point, I was really fucking pissed off. So I was like, dude, just go, please, just go. Like, I'll catch up with y'all later. And understandably, me Falling and Little Cheese Curl just sitting in the back all fucking pissed off. So really, dude, we spent all this time setting everything up. There was like, besides those stupid athletic fucking douchebags, there was people there that were genuinely there to just try to enjoy some music, just try to have a good time. And then you got fucking douchebags like that trying to ruin it. That's why I always hate the popular kids in school, dude. Like, not trying to be that edgy emo kid, but dude, if you're... I have a lot of younger people that watch me. If you happen to be one of those popular athletes, like one of those fucking dickheads, get your fucking head out of your ass, dude. Nobody's gonna give a fuck about your reputation in, like, a couple of years. So get your fucking head out of your ass and stop being an asshole. Nobody fucking likes you, dude. Everybody's just around you because you're fucking popular and they think they can get some clout off you. Nobody actually fucking likes you. Everybody hates people like you. But immediately after this happened, obviously there was a lot of noise that was made. And again, it was like 8 p.m. so I didn't think noise complaints would be a big deal. But there was a lot of noise between people speeding down the road, honking their horns, and people, you know, yelling and cheering up with the songs and stuff like that. Like, you know, there was just a lot of noise. So then one of the neighbors that I had at the time, this guy was a fucking douchebag. He looked like an old mole rat in a fucking bathrobe. I hated this guy. He came over, started screaming at us. I was like, dude, get the fuck off my property. Like, why are you over here screaming at me? And then he called the cops, and the cops rolled up. And initially, they weren't going to say anything about the noise because, again, it wasn't late enough. They could only do it if it was past, like, 10 or 11, they said. So initially, they were going to let us go, just be like, hey, you know, just be mindful of your neighbors, you know, whatever, just, you know, be mindful of the noise. And that was going to be that. But then they took a real good look at me, and they were like, hey, bud, have you been doing anything tonight? And that's when I realized I was still messed up. I'm not going to name the substance I was on just because I don't want to incriminate myself. But again, I am 18 years old, so there is certain substances I would be technically legally allowed to have taken. So I'm not gonna include the name of that. And I was just like, no. And then they did a bunch of tests on me, and, you know, obviously, they found out I was on something, so then they had to send my friends home, and thank God they didn't get caught of being on anything, because I believe one of them might have taken something as well, but they were able to play it off, either that, or maybe it was just out of their system by that point. So they got sent home, and then I had a cop that had to sit with me for, like, literally until 2 a.m., right? And because we were waiting for mom to get back, she was just out trying to hang out with a friend, and then unfortunately she had to kind of cancel all that because my ass was just fucking being stupid. And then she had to come home, figure all that out, and then this led to a whole other thing, okay?
I forgot to mention this in the vid, but thank God my mom picked up, because if she wouldn't have, since it was really late at night, they were about to take me to the station and straight up cuff me.
After all this, I ended up getting, you know, charges on me because I was under the influence, and then they ended up hitting me with, like, the stuff about, you know, me causing a bunch of noise or whatever. I forget what the actual thing was called, but it was something disturbing the peace or something like that. Long story short, I ended up having to go to court, and then I had to do, like, 40 or 50 hours of community service. It was just, oh my god. The only moral to this story is think about what you're doing before you do it. Because one small little gag, one small little prank, one small little joke, like those fucking kids with the stink bombs, right? That stink bomb and that whole, like, incident there, that just, like, snowballed into this big thing where I ended up getting a charge, I ended up having a fucked up record now, and I ended up having to do 50 hours of community service for a couple months after that. For everybody that watches this channel, I try my hardest to be, like, a positive influence on you guys, and I really want to steer you guys in the right direction, you know? There's just... This world is an awful freaking place, man, and I really try to be a positive influence on you guys, so whenever I tell stories like this, I always like to try to have a moral to it, and the one for this one is really just think about what you're doing before you do it, and just be smart about everything. Now, clearly, I'm not trying to point fingers because, yes, it was my fault for, you know, being on a substance that night, because if it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't have heard it. There wouldn't have been anything else that happened in the first place, right? But alongside that, there is also some fault on the kids that decided to come there and kind of fuck everything up, you know what I'm saying? So it's not that one person is entirely to blame. Some of it is also my fault for deciding to be stupid, and especially since I was underage, I shouldn't have been doing that in the first place. I take full responsibility and ownership over that on my part, but just... think about what you're doing, guys, please. So that's gonna do it for this one, guys. As always, a shout out to the patrons, Fav Grandma, and Lil Bootytap. Sorry if this one was a little bit more serious, but I just kind of wanted to share this story, just kind of been on my mind, and I figured, you know what, if I want to give, like, a moral, if I want to kind of pass a message along, I guess I'd kind of just, like, put a story along with it. Just think about what you're doing, guys, please. Because any decision you make, whether it's against somebody else, or whether it's doing something to yourself, like getting intoxicated, or pulling a prank, or just anything else you do, just... please think about it. Every action has consequences, whether that be good or bad. Usually more bad than good. So just please be careful out there, guys. Anyways, see you guys back here tomorrow at 7. Thank you for watching. I love you all. Peace.